Ooh, it's hot here in Chicago again. Temperature shifts. 70, 40, 70. So here we are. My throat, bear with me, still a little raspy. But we need to talk, guys. It's Monday. We need to talk about this case because November 13, it will be a year since the IDAHO4 case. This whole mess started. The crime was committed on November 13, 2022. Feels like we haven't really gone anywhere, right? Wonder why that is. Wonder why so much secretive stuff going on. And the more that this case unravels, the longer it goes on, I feel like maybe law enforcement had something to do with it. Am I anti-law enforcement? Of course not. I was a member in uniform myself. I served in the military myself. Not every person in uniform is good. Not every person in uniform is bad. That being said, and as I've mentioned before, yes, I have 2 psych degrees. Yes, I have a science degree. So I think that gives me a different perspective, right? I'm able to set my emotions aside as far as who's guilty, who's not guilty, who did what. I'm analyzing and making these videos to stand up for what I believe is right, which is everybody, every American should be given a fair trial. In this case, the evidence is shoddy at best. Shoddy. And you have to think about this because any of us could find ourselves in that situation. And that is scary. That potentially law enforcement had something to do with it. And again, I love police officers, the good ones. I love people in uniform, the good ones. Most armed people in uniform do so because they're good people. We want good things, right? That's why we joined the military. That's why I joined, because I stand up. I wanted to do something good for my country, and I am passionate about what we stand for as a country and to protect our citizens and our rights. So for me, it's essential that BK gets his rights, meaning he can get a fair case, a fair shot at least. Whether he's guilty or not, that's beside the fact. But what's becoming more of an option, in my opinion, you need to come to your own conclusions. This is just my opinion. I'm not a detective. I have a psych background and a science background. That is all, guys. I'm not a detective. I wasn't there. But you need to look at the weird things that are going on in this case. Keep your peepers peeled. You have a chief of police department driving away in a U-Haul with Pennsylvania for some reason. Interesting, right? Because BK is from Pennsylvania. Very interesting. Literally the day the crime was committed. Putting stuff in boxes. As soon as they showed up. As soon as the police department showed up. Driving it away. Who knows where to who knows who. And when he was questioned, he said, oh, we want to help the families. That's why we're boxing everything. Although the crime scene hasn't been investigated. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. If you're stupid enough to believe that, then you have a lot coming to you. I'm concerned about your mental health. Because you need to question these things. To me, if a chief of police department actually would have wanted to help the families, he would have not trampled the scene more so than it already was. I mean, we've already talked about the 2 survivors who were awake. Don't give me that they were drunk spiel. Don't give me that they were sleeping spiel. We know that they were awake. They were texting each other. Okay, 2 girls in the house texting each other and on TikTok at the time these crimes were supposedly committed. And you didn't call? You didn't hear 4 people getting slaughtered? Come on, you know something. And maybe they had something to do with it, or maybe they're afraid. One of them did mention that they heard somebody say, we're here to help you. And I'm thinking, what kind of person would say that? Because most people associate people in uniform with help, with safety. I know I do, for the most part. But my psychology background, my scientific background lets me know that I have to be cautious with interacting with these police officers, because I am aware that the evidence shows, that the studies show that they score high in psychopathic traits. So if you're the average Jane or Joe walking down the street, falsely assuming, living in La La Land, thinking, they're sworn officers of our community, they're here to help us, they would never cause harm to anybody, you are insane, my friend. You need to do more reading, not blog reading. I mean, scientific reading. I mean, looking up statistics, looking up crimes. Studies show that from 2011 to 2016, over 7,000 plus crimes are committed by over 5,200 cops. 5,200, 5200. That's a lot of bad apples. Okay, that's a lot of bad apples. That's not even counting the ones that could have maybe not gotten caught. I'm sure there's a few running around. Maybe more than a few. So we need to question that. Why was he allowed, the chief of police, to drive off with this evidence before the scene was even investigated? Is it possible that law enforcement could have planted something there? A sheath with DNA in a tiny part of the sheath? I think it's possible. I know it's possible. Because if there was nobody there for that long, anything is possible, guys. I'm not saying that's the way it went down. Again, I don't know. I'm saying keep your mind open. Keep your mind open. Then we have footage of a police officer who's talking to a minor female, telling her, don't make me come out here again, because if we do, it's a waste of time. You might as well just spend your money on booze. Excuse me, sir? I thought you were supposed to uphold the law. Here you are breaking it. Here you are telling people to break it. That, to me, makes you a bad cop. You're not doing your job. You're telling people to break the law. You should be fired just by that one thing. I don't care. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care how minute it is. The one thing you were told to do, your one job is to uphold the law. You can't even do that. Then you have this other weird, video of two officers supposedly got called for a noise complaint. They show up. The house is empty. And then he's creeping around the back of the house saying, there's no stairwell to the back to the second floor. Interesting. Why are you analyzing their house creeping around? Creepy. Also, there's no record of him showing up to the house. Weird. So is it possible that there was foul play? Hell to the yes, of course. Of course. Of course it's possible. And if you're one of those closed-minded people that think people in uniform always have their best interest, yeah, you're in for a rough time. So I tell you this from experience. Again, I wasn't a police officer, but I was in the military. A lot of people with psychopathic traits there. Not everybody. I have good friends there. I still keep in touch with a lot of them. Some are still in. A lot of them got out. But psychopathic traits all over these types of jobs, yes, they draw this type of person. Not everybody wants to join the military. Not everyone wants to be a police officer to serve. A lot of people with these psychopathic traits seek these jobs out to abuse power or people. So keep that in mind when you're having these interactions. And again, I don't mean to scare you, but you just have to be aware. Use that nog. All right, guys, I'm going to go get some sun. Going to work on this golden glow, this pale glow.